Preen glands is a gland that secretes oily secretions. Here we've got an infection or problem, or maybe just a disease of the Preen gland, and it's very swollen. And I've catheterized the Preen gland. I've put a small plastic catheter into it. I'll just put a little bit of fluid into the Preen gland. But I'm actually gonna make a tiny cut in the Preen gland just to. And you're gonna see all the pus, all the stuff coming out of it. Got it?
Yeah. Oh wow.
Cool, eh? A nice yucky Preen gland product. So, and we'll put this under the microscope to evaluate it.
Mm-hmm. Bird pus seems to be quite solid.
Yes, bird pus is very solid. So now you can actually see, so we've got a catheter in the Preen gland. So we're actually flushing the Preen gland out. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Flush, flush, flush like a little fountain.
Do you think this bird will recover normal function of the Preen gland?
Well, all I think is that the birds, you can see that I haven't plucked the feathers here. All these feathers have been biting around. It's really been worrying it. But all I can say is the bird's going to be so much better after this.
What does the Preen gland actually do?
So the Preen gland is an oil secreting gland, and it helps. It adds a layer of water it adds a layer of oil on the feathers, and it helps maintain feather quality. And that's why in certain breeds of bird you can get water just runs off their feathers, and they don't seem to get wet.
What would cause a malfunction like this?
So I'm assuming that this opening here is somehow blocked. Am I able to make this opening a little bit bigger? You can see here's the Preen gland opening that I'm trying to flush. So take a look. So now you can see the stuff ideally coming mainly out the Preen gland. So we're really flushing the Preen gland. Now what I'm going to try and do, now that I've cleaned out the Preen gland, I'm going to try and remove some of these feathers that are really irritating the bird. Some of these
Are they irritating because they're so close to the Preen gland, do you think?
they've just been damaged, and you've got little follicles here. The trouble is, the more you remove the feathers, they'll grow back pretty much straight away. Lisa, what are we on?
We're on 2.
Do you want to go down to 1 3/4, please, or 1 1/2? Yeah. And the breathing okay?
It's fine, I was on 36.
So I'm really just mechanically flushing a bit like a plumber would flush a tap, and hoping that's going to sort it out. I've opened the hole, I've cleaned the area. We'll get this bird onto antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. So we've taken a few feathers out, everything's going to start again. We've emptied all the pus out, we've flushed and cleaned the area. Okay, you can switch it off. We're going to now start him on an antibiotic and an anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
And we'll see how we go. Remember, one of the rules is to start off being gentle, but I'll now analyze the pus. So you all saw that pus up beautifully coming out. So this is a Preen gland abscess from yesterday. If you remember, we put it under the microscope. The bird's doing brilliantly, eating well. The gland looks brilliant, but I'm going to just give some antibiotic directly into the Preen gland, so that so we can really get bacterial cure. So that's a little Preen gland. And that's a dose directly into the Preen gland. So I'm hoping, because I know I've got infection, I know I've got bacteria, I know I've got problems, by injecting it into the gland, we're going to get massive amounts of antibiotics exactly where we need it. Remember, when you've got a cavity and you're giving antibiotics orally, it's more difficult for the medication to penetrate. So this would really help it, and you can see there's no major trauma or pain when I did it because I'm filling a hole up.
Is it on other meds as well, Phil?
So it's another med. So in a veterinary clinic, we want to know that the med's going completely. We don't want to chance that they don't go in. Plus, we want to make sure they're getting good nutrition. So every hospital case, every single day, will get a crop feed 3 times a day. And this is what a crop feed is. So it's got its antibiotics, it's got its pain relief, it's got all the medication it needs. And essentially, if you say, please open your beak, they normally open their beak. If you say, please be good while we give you your crop feed, they usually say, okay. And then all you really do is inject it in. So now he's got 3 mils of very healthy crop feed, nutrients, energy, and he's not too stressed. And you'll see that our little Gidon goes back into the cage, not worse for wear, and he's actually going to go home today. We'll get him back in a few days. I think one more injection into that preen gland might be an option. It's coming out of a little gland in the back of a bird.
It's like an ingrown feather.
Well, it's more than that now because it's been like this for a long time. So that's what's coming out. And we're going to try and actually so this is what we've taken out. But because this bird has ongoing problems with it, we're going to have to try and flush that follicle and actually try and burn the source of it because the new feather keeps on coming out in a problematic way. So we're finally getting somewhere with Gidon. As you know, Gidon's a biblical character, and the name's pretty unusual pronunciation, Gidon. The preen gland with new follicles coming out has been problematic for literally months. And each time we've sent it home, it bites and it falls and it flies and it bleeds. So we've had to do something very drastic. And that's take the bird and just admit it into hospital and put a collar on. And we're probably on 5 or 6 days, and the improvement's incredible. So sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind, and I know life is time and time is money, but 5 days in hospital has made a world of difference. The owner came to take him home yesterday, and I showed her how well it's doing in hospital. She basically left and walked out and said, we'll keep it for a few more days. But I'm going to now show you how good the tail looks. You know, we thought it might even be a tumor on the tail. So hello, Gidon. You can see all the new feathers are coming out. I mean, they're all coming out at the same time, and I'm sure it's very irritating and uncomfortable. He's on an anti-inflammatory at the same time, but what we're going to try and do is let them grow out for 4 or 5 more days, and then we're going to hopefully, he has to go home to his own devices. But it doesn't look like a cancer or tumor that we've worried about for so long. Unfortunately, Gidon has had to have a collar. So, I mean, there are various ways of making collars. I'd like to let you know we have got a client that I put a collar on in 2006. It's a sulfur-crested cockatoo. And today, which is 16 years later, it's still wearing a collar. So some birds will vary occasionally. We've only got one bird that's worn a collar for 16 years. So this collar is comfortable. The bird's chewing it, and not only is it chewing it, but it's actually swallowing some of the collar.
Which isn't ideal.
It's not ideal, but he's eating well, but just to enhance feather growth, we're giving stuff that promotes feather growth. So it's a molting aid and a molting tonic, and we're doing this 2 or 3 times a day. So we got no excuse for really healthy feathers and all the trophic factors that are needed for feathers. Because remember that this little Gidon's a seed eater. I just don't want him to fall, so I'm going to put him back into the. He's a seed eater, and the seed's often deficient in a lot of food.
Yep.
That's why we try pellets and vegetables. We'll follow up on this preen gland abscess with Gidon. Really cute bird, really unusual name.
We're what, 6 months after surgery now? Be about that.
Well, it's results, so he's come for a regular checkup, and let's just see how the preen gland looks compared to previously. So, we've still got 1 or 2. Oh, that's the preen gland looking pretty healthy. It's not abscessed anymore. It's kind of pretty normal. So we've had a really good outcome. We know it was a Preen gland abscess because we put samples under the microscope, we stained and looked at them, just as we did the procedure. So injecting antibiotics into the wound, flushing it out and cleaning it gave us a happy baby, and so we're very happy with the results. Gidon? Can you say, I can't let Gidon go completely, but Gidon? It's so close to my finger biting, but
But in for his checkup and bright enough to bite. That's good.
no, it's happy bird.